All right. All right, so this is Mythgard. People that haven't seen it before, this is a fully digital card game that works on Windows, Linux, and OS X through Steam. It works on Android and iOS, on mobile. It is a fully digital game, so it leverages some of the digital design space pretty well. We're going to be starting off today. Let's just dive into a game and show off some of the gameplay. We've had some people sending in some viewer submitted deck lists for this too, so we're going to be playing a yellow-orange control deck. This one's actually from the top 8 of one of their tournaments from this past weekend, and then we're going to start with a orange-green mid-range deck. Hey, Quiet Kieran, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, people always talk about, like, what the story, like, the Vorthos of a card game looks like. I really couldn't care less about the Vorthos of a card game, personally. I'm just, like, in for the game board is different with this patch. Interesting.
All right.
I'm not sure if I like this new game board. It's a little bit busy with all the symbols and stuff on it. The game category should be updated. All right, so one of the things that ain't no Terminator cheer to give 10% more. Can I use bits for deck thing? Yeah, bits can be used for deck things. So in this game, oh, it's for Halloween. That makes sense. So in this game, instead of having resources in your deck, you can burn any of the cards in your hand to turn them into a resource. So you can see there, I just burned a orange card to give me 1 orange gem here at the bottom and one total resource here. And then this card cost me 1 resource to play, and it requires I have 1 orange pip to play it out. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out here.
Reporting.
The combat in this game is one of the things that I also really enjoy about it. So the combat is played on this 7x7 grid board here. And the way combat works is similar to Hearthstone. Minions can attack other minions directly, but unlike Hearthstone, you can't just run people's faces down in this game. So, for example, I have this 2-1 here, and even though there's empty spaces here, I have to attack the unit in front of me because units block other units. So I can drag this across here, and you can see it tells me this combat is going to result in both these units dying. So I'm going to go ahead and have these attack. So units block or threaten the 7 spaces, or the 3 spaces directly in front of them. So when you're playing cards out in this game, there's a positional strategy to where you're playing your cards, depending on if you're taking an aggressive or defensive role. So not quite sure what my opponent's deck is doing just yet. It looks like they're playing something that's a little bit off meta. So I'm not familiar with what they're doing. So I'm not sure if we're leaning towards an aggressive role or a defensive role in this matchup. Generally speaking, when you're being aggressive, you want to put your units on lanes 1, 4, and 7 because that spreads them out the most and makes them hardest to block. When you're playing defensive, which I'm hedging towards being defensive here, you want to put your units towards the middle so they intercept or block the most lanes. Question that slipped by earlier is Mythgard much more focused on combat damage and magic? Are there combo burn decks or is it super mid-rangey? So the gameplay is super interactive overall. There is a burn deck that exists in this game, so there are good aggressive decks. Their tournament that happened over the weekend actually had an aggressive deck that made the finals of it. But the gameplay in this tends to be a lot more interactive than Magic, just by nature of how combat works. So my opponent played out an enchantment here, and this says, at the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to the minions in the 3 opposing lanes and the 2 adjacent friendly lanes. So this occupies this specific space here, and at the end of every one of their turns, this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot, and this spot are all going to take a damage. So I probably want to avoid deploying minions out here if possible. Alright, so I've got a bunch of X1 units that are not great here. I have a serendipity ifreet, which I probably I want to play out. So I'm gonna burn this detained card here. I'm gonna go ahead and deploy my ifreet here, which is a 4/4 that says when it comes into play, I divination 3, which lets me look at the top 3 cards of my deck and put 1 on top and the rest back in. This is the card we just burned away, so I don't really want to redraw that. None of these are very good at this point. I guess I'll put the lavish proxy on top. Yeah, there are cards that interact with enchantments in this game.
Is that all you've...
There is a mechanic in this game called Agile that allows your units to attack pass blockers. So, you can see this can only attack the 2 spaces in front of it. Something that I haven't mentioned yet is each deck gets a power that's attached to it, and my power for 2 resources allows me to give a unit an extra move action, so I can spend 2 resources to give this a move, so I can slide this over and then attack to trade with the unit that they played out here. So normally, units can only attack or block one or the other, but my power allows one of my minions to do both for the turn for 1 resource. Yeah, so when you burn a card, you can see the animation shuffles it back into my deck. And on the left side here, there's a deck tracker built into the client. And you can see, for instance, I just burned the lavish proxy, and it goes back into my deck and has an orange showing that I've burned it already this game.
Do we have a mission? Do we have a mission?
I can also click over here and see the cards my opponent has burned. If I miss what they burned, I can go in here and look. All right, so my opponent again played another thing out here. Dark Passenger's a great draw. It gives one of my minions Deadly, which is essentially Death Touch, and it gives it they draw a card when they die. So I'm going to go ahead and give this minion Deadly, and then I'm going to pay 2 with my power to slide it over here so it can attack their Stealth minion. And Stealth's kind of like Morph. I don't know exactly what this is, but it likely dies to my Deadly minion. Something that's worth noting is you'll notice this card is kind of blacked out here. That's because I can't burn this card for a second time. So the game recalls which specific cards you burn. And if you redraw a card that you've already burned, you can't burn it again. I'm gonna burn the ifreet here. I'm gonna burn the unforgiving. The reason to keep the ifreet is next turn I can play a 2-drop plus a 3-drop potentially and get two things going on.
Looking good.
Yeah, I started Mythgard early. What's it called just wasn't doing it for me. I was planning to play more Brawl than we played today, but I've just was not enjoying Brawl. Again, I'm going to use my power to slide this over and trade with their thing. Did the overlay toggle itself off? Yeah, I don't know why that is. When I set it up again for this, okay, the overlay should be back on. Something's buggy on Twitch's end that the overlay unloads when I start this game. Yeah, if you're someone that enjoys mid-range decks in Magic, you will love this game. Because the mid-range decks have a ton of decisions and they're very reasonable. This is easily the most interactive card game I've ever played. There's also a ton of great card selection here. So like, for example, this card's super sweet. It's a 4-drop that's a 2/2. Then when it comes into play, I draw a card. And then I look at the top 2 cards of my deck and draw one of those as well. So it draws 2 with some selection on my 4-drop. I appreciate you letting me know, little man. One of the things that this game leverages really well is the idea of creating cards. So this card, Detained, in addition to giving a minion less attack till end of turn, it also creates this Deported card to my hand, which lets me bounce a minion back to my opponent's hand, which is nice. One of the things I love about the resource system in this game is it allows you to curve out very elegantly. So for instance, I don't really want this 1-drop at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and burn this. Get rid of it and turn it into something useful. They made 2 3/3s here. The Seal of Exile banishes a minion and all of their minions with the same name. So I might just Seal of Exile and get rid of these, I think. Well, the big draw to me for this, as someone who's played a ton of Magic, is that this game works on mobile. So if you're someone that will occasionally play games on mobile in your spare time, it's definitely great for that. There's a 10-10 with overrun. That's probably worth throwing back on top because we're at 7 resources and can play that next turn. We're pretty far ahead at this point. We've got similar number of cards in hand to our opponent, and our board state's bigger. They've got these enchantments in play that they can power up minions in when they put them in a little bit, but yes, you can only burn 1 card per turn. That is correct. My opponent just activated their power. Their power is they look at the top 3 cards of my deck, or they can divination 2 on their own. Wow, just no plays there, huh? This game also supports 2v2 gameplay, which is sweet. Are there any sweepers in my opponent's colors? I'm trying to think. I don't think there are, right? Oh, there's a deal 5 to everything, right? I don't think they have a sweeper that kills this card, right? So I'm going to burn my detained here and play this out. So someone's asking how does playing cards work. So when I play this card, you'll see it's going to take 7 resources and it fades out 2 of my gems. My resources and my gems replenish every single turn. So there's color restriction, so you get that same deck building depth where you can play as many or as few colors as you want, similar to Magic, but there's not resource variance where you're going to flood or screw because of it, which is nice. This is a 10-10, and they're at 6 life, so they're probably dead here. You can click on your opponent and see what their collection looks like and what rank they are. Oh, they disconnected. Oh, I wonder if that's why they didn't do much last turn. They're having a connection issue. This game does support mobile, so occasionally people on mobile have spotty internet connections. Yeah, I think this only comes up if you're disconnected, right? I believe normally your action timer is this circle here. So like your time per turn is this circle that spins out. Is there anything that depletes or removes resources? So there's nothing that really attacks your opponent's resources. Seal of Exile is a card that sacrifices your own mana and resource for a powerful effect. So you know you're giving up a resource when you play this. Yeah, we played a 3-color control deck on stream. And we also, I've played a 3-color enchantment deck off stream a little bit that I've enjoyed, that I posted in the subs Discord. It actually tells you, the UI is informative and tells you that your opponent's disconnected and is going to timeout. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time playing it on both. In fact, before the Mythgard people reached out to me to work this into my stream time by doing some sponsored segments, I played mostly on mobile. So my gaming time on the computer is often mostly Magic, so I've played a ton of this on my phone. It plays very well on mobile. Yeah, the core setup of this game, like what the number of knobs they have to turn to like balance things and like change things and create interesting cards feels like the core game system that they have here is going to be very good. Let's re-roll that one. So I'm probably not going to play Foresight. Kill 25 minions. Sounds great. My video is peeking out of the card border. Good call. Fixed it. Thank you. I was messing with my frame on the other settings. Why are some color symbols below the cost and others are besides the cost? Those are full art versus not. So full art cards, the gems scale down. Non-full art cards, they go across the top. Am I going to post deck list for Mythgard on the site? Well, just like my Magic videos, the decks that I'm playing in Mythgard are in the description of the YouTube videos. At some point, I'll probably create some deck pages, but I need to figure out a good way to embed them on my WordPress site with having mouse over preview still. Howdy, Vernash. Oh yeah, the feature decks are a good thing to plug. I should plug those sooner when I remember. Yeah, we can turn off sub only mode because we're not doing Magic. Good suggestion. So the feature decks, yeah, they're one of the best things about the game, and the feature decks, they're good. They're what convinced me to spend money. So the feature decks are, when you create an account in this game, you get 2 decks assigned to your account that rotate twice per week, and every time those decks, they're decks that are built by the community that you can play completely for free without owning any of the cards of them. You can play them in casual, in ranked, wherever you want. And twice per week, which free decks you have access to rotate. This is a 1/3 that gives a minion Blight 1 when it deals combat damage to it, so it slowly kills the minion. Yeah, I spent probably 3 or 4 hours just playing the feature decks before I put any money into this game. I am doing build-arounds for Mythgard, so I am taking build-arounds and specific deck submissions for Mythgard. In fact, both of the decks we're going to do today are Mythgard deck submissions, and we'll probably get to a third since I finished Arena early, since Brawl was medium. So this card, let me play my card for the turn, and we can talk about what this guy does. He's cute. So this guy comes into play and he divinations 3, so they're the top 3 cards of our deck. Well, these are very good. We might have too many detains in this deck. We might take a peek at this one in between this game and the next one. So this card has a mechanic called Energy. And Energy is very similar to Planeswalker Loyalty in that it's a counter that's attached to a specific unit. And in this case, this unit gains an energy every time it moves, and then it eventually, when it dies, it gives me an extra resource for every energy that it had. So this is a 3/4. So this guy can currently only attack the three spaces in front of him, but I'm going to go ahead and use my power here to give this a move action so I can slide it over and then eat their 3/4 here. I don't currently have much to do here. This gives a minion overrun and draws a card. I think I'm just going to go ahead and cycle this. These cards banish the bottom 2 cards of my discard pile to draw 2 cards. So getting that card in my discard pile is appealing. Yes, yeah, same as Arena Platinum Otter. Yeah, I missed a point of damage because their unit was fragile. Is accurate. All right, so this guy is going to go up to 4 energy when I move him. So when he dies, he's going to ramp me 2. So I'm actually going to give him another move action to slide him down and then bump him off here. And you'll see my resources go up to 6. So next turn, I'm going to have access to 6 resources or more if I burn a card this turn. I think I'm going to just play the Recruiter here, because this can trade long term with this. And then I'm going to go ahead and burn a card for the turn. Again, don't really need a 1-drop at this point since we're further into the game. Oh, so something I didn't talk about because I forgot. There's a lot of things to cover. Each deck, in addition to having a power that comes with it, each deck has a path that comes with it. And the path gives you a starting health total modifier. And more importantly, this is something that's been really problematic in Magic, is your path gives you a bonus on the draw. So for example, when you play Turn of the Seasons, you get 4 extra life on the draw. Another knob they have to balance different things out. I've got plenty of cards in there. Maybe I just read the tombs twice this turn. If I burn a green card, I can read the tombs again. So this draws 2. Now you can see here, I can't play this raid the tombs yet because even though I have 2 resources, I don't have 2 more green gems. So if I want to play this, which I do, I need to burn another green card here so I can get another green gem. So let's just gas up this turn. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the Ifreet over here so I can eat their 1/1 next turn. This comes into play. It lets me look at the top 3 and put the one back that I want. I'm definitely at the point in the game where I'm looking to just like start jamming bombs. Then I'm going to go ahead and play my 2-1 out over here so I can eat their 1-1 or trade with their 1-1. And this 2-1, when it comes into play, it makes me a 1-1 that I can play later. Yeah, I'm not big on PvE stuff myself, but I've heard feedback from a lot of people that it's well done in this game. Well, that's rude. So they moved this guy down away from him, and then they stunned him. Is there a clear best path, or are they balanced? This path actually was being played quite frequently, and they actually nerfed this one in the last patch. So there's still there's a lot of things that they're balancing for sure. I've won with a variety of different strategies and paths though, so I've been pretty happy with that overall. So I'm gonna play Peri at the gates over here. So I wanna kill this guy next turn here. So this draws a card, then I look at 2, and then I draw another bomb here. Sounds great. I'm gonna go ahead and burn this gallows, and then play the Volvo heavy over here.
Covering fire.
This is a 5/5 with armor 1, so every time it takes damage, it takes 1 less. And then it has overrun as well, which tramples basically. They're gonna trade off their 2 things for my 4/4. That makes sense. The tree planting fundraiser. I did see that. Elon Musk donated like 1 million trees or something. Hey Draxer, thanks for being here. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this one. The card game market's definitely hard to break into, but this is definitely one that I've been enjoying a lot. When does a creature heal again? So what does this do? This has warded, so it cannot be damaged or destroyed outside of combat, but that does not include mind control here. So I'm gonna traitorous murmur this, right? Which lets me steal their thing. Yep. Thanks for the 8/8. And then I can actually drop my opponent conceded. Yep. I'll take that one. You cannot burn a token. So, at the end of each game, where's my sponsors thing? There's this thumbs up button in the lower right. You should always click the thumbs up button, because if both people click the thumbs up button, you get a bonus. So say good game at the end, don't be salty. If I were to recommend one new game for new players to start in, what would it be? I would ask them what they're looking for out of a game, Moonpie. I think a lot of people are in the market to play something that they can play in more places, and like Magic can't be played in more places, right? Like there's no mobile option. Magic definitely has a more robust competitive scene than a new small game like this, though. This game has a lot of great social features built in, so if you make... I'm planning to do 2 to 3 days of Mythgard a week, but I also play off-stream on occasion. And if you want to see some of my games when I'm playing off-stream, you can follow me in client, and you can see my games and watch them in the Mythgard client without seeing my hand, obviously, while I'm playing off-stream. Puzzle mode's not really my thing. There's puzzle modes and PvE stuff in this game too, but I personally just stick to PvP. Holy crap! That's awesome. So, Magic News. Star City Games just tweeted they're replacing Standard with Pioneer at the Invitational. That's phenomenal. That's awesome. They get it. People making decisions there get it. Magic can't create a standard format that doesn't suck, apparently. In addition to spectating, you can also go back and watch replays for people's matches and stuff too. So if you want to get ideas for decks, you can go see what other people are doing on the ladder. That's unfortunate. They gave my guy -2 attack and then killed him. Rude. I guess we'll just burn the caravan here and put a 4/4 out in front of this. Not really. So, resupply caravan, when it comes into play, it gives adjacent minions a standard action, which lets them move again or attack again. So, you generally want resupply caravan in the mid to late game to burst out extra attacks with your big units. What are the chances WotC tank standard to push Pioneer? I think that's too tinfoil heady. I think the likely answer is they just messed up. Yeah, this game's made by an actual small indie company, which is great. We make lots of small indie meme jokes about Wizards, and this one's actually a small indie company. So this thing exiles things from my boneyard. So I'm going to go ahead and cast my Raid the Tombs ASAP before they eat all my cards up, because Raid the Tombs has to have 2 cards in my bin in order to draw 2. Then I'm going to go ahead and play my Recruiter here, which when it comes into play, if the top card's my deck's a unit, it draws it automatically. So the path here, Turn of the Seasons, it gives bonuses, but it also, on one of the stages, makes their minion fragile. So their minions are fragile right now. So even though this was a 2/3 and I had a 2/3, these traded because it took an extra point of damage here. That's a 4/4, sure. We have a pretty good counter to that. We have a 5/5 we're gonna get to play out right in front of it here. Don't really need 1-drops at this point in the game, so happy to burn that off.
Covering fire.
I think that path is way better than the other paths. I don't think that's strictly true. I think this path's more generic than the other paths. So, like, if you're not quite sure what your deck is supposed to be doing, this is a good safe pick. That's one of the reasons why this one's popular. So they deported my guy back to my hand and then smacked me in the face for 4. You'll note here that my opponent's running out of cards in their hand. They haven't had any card draw this game. So we're definitely in a pretty reasonable spot at the moment. Because even though they have a 4/4 in play, our board is, our hand's a lot bigger than theirs.
Do we have a mission?
Yeah, Brawl was really just not fun for me this morning. The gameplay was kind of medium, and it didn't feel like there were interesting deck building problems to solve. Yeah, if anybody sent in donations for Brawl decks, you can change them to something else, or I'll refund your money. Whichever you'd prefer. All right, so this is gonna just trade over here. And you can see, I love that the interface tells me what's gonna happen inside of combat. So when I draw this line here, it says, okay, their thing's gonna die, they're gonna take 1, your thing's gonna take 4. And then this is a 9/7, so I think I wanna just detain deport this. Oh wait, I have a Dark Passenger. Yeah, okay, never mind. Let's just give this deadly and then trade. Perfect. Sick. All right, I'm gonna burn this Walk the Bones and play another heavy down over here. Opponent's down to 1 card in their hand. We're ahead on board and have a bunch of cards in our hand, so. Yeah, David just beat Goliath. He found a vial of poison and ran it across the finish line. Thanks for the 15 months, Murphy. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Brutal. So Seal of Exile, 2-for-1's me there, but our hand's so good it probably doesn't matter. Like they're down to their last card here. What does Deported do? Deported returns a minion to its hand. I would like to play a 10/10. Thud. All right, so they have a 10/10 over here as well. So you can see my 10/10 has overrun, so I'm gonna hit them and go over. Yeah, I saw SCG as emergency replacing standard with Pioneer. That's very smart on their part. They're dead, right? So resupply caravan comes into play and gives us another action so it can attack again. So that's why the resupply caravan's good. It's like revs up your guy and like punches them an extra time at the end. Because they were currently on winter, which means their minion was taking 1 extra damage. They're really good. It seems pretty good. If you're someone that hasn't logged into Mythgard since their Friday patch, one thing they added that's great in the missions tab here, under factions, you can pick 1 faction mission at a time. And if you're someone that's looking to free to play this game, this is a great thing to be doing. As you complete these, you earn the gold reward here, or the coin reward here, and then you also earn wildcards, I believe all the way up to a mythic wildcard for that color. So new freebies for people who are paying and not alike to work through. The last level of it gives you a mythic wildcard. Nice. Yeah, Riot's a pretty awful company. So, like, not really a strong desire to give Riot my time or my money. Pretty low desire, in fact. And if you're not sure what I mean by Riot's an awful company, I'd encourage you to Google Riot lawsuit. Does Barrett have alternate win cons, like deck strategies that don't rely on hitting your opponent a bunch? I think there's some control variations that rely on like decking your opponent out and killing them with fatigue damage. Because in this game, you take damage at the end of it when you go to draw a card, but can't. You don't just instantly lose like in Magic. Yeah, decking's still damage, but it's not hitting the face a bunch. It's like it's technically different. There is a rack deck too. Yeah, the rack deck is technically not hitting the face a bunch. So they played Demolition Speedway here, which is a very aggressive enchantment. So any minion my opponent puts in this lane moving forward here is gets +2 attack and overrun. Yeah, Mythgard is the game I play most commonly off stream when I'm looking to just like wind down and like play something. This is my couch sitting game, my gym game. I'm off to play Pioneer. Hey, have fun, Irasu. People, subs who are enjoying the Mythgard content, make sure you make your voice heard in the sub survey this afternoon. Working with Rhino, they're doing 2 sponsored streams a week with me for at least a couple hours each time. But if there's a demand from other people, my subscribers who pay me, I'm open to adding a 3rd day a week as well. Numbers have been pretty reasonable. 700 for a non-Magic game is pretty good. So this card is super strong here. It is Alpha Strike, and First Strike is super crazy when your minions can attack other minions. So if I attack here, you can see just my thing dies, so that's not a good play. I'm going to go ahead and detain this, though, so it gets -2 attack, and now I can eat their thing in combat. So let's do that. What am I looking to burn here? Probably the resupply caravan. I don't know that I'm really ready to play that just yet. And I'm going to go ahead and play an eager recruit out over here, which makes me a 1/1. And then I'm playing Eager Recruit here by this Demolition Speedway in case they play something with only 2 toughness. I can trade here. Yeah, I agree the 3/1 lines up medium into some of the decks that are running around right now, but so this is a 4/4 that gets +2/+2 while occupying an enchantment. So I guess I just trade 2 for 1 here, I think. So I can attack this in, deal 4, attack this in, deal 2. Seems good. Yeah, I think their roadmap, and that's another thing that I love, they have a very clear roadmap on their website. Their roadmap says they plan to do 2 sets next year. In addition to other features. I'm looking forward to their tournament mode that they're adding to client. They're supposed to be adding to the client soon. I think I'm going to take Seal of Exile here. I already have a heavy, and like, I want to be able to like cut through something big if they deploy it here. I heard SCG replacing Standard with Pioneer is awesome. I wasn't going to watch the Invitational. Now I'll be glued to the TV. Which, responses like that are probably why they're doing that. Alright, let's start by reading the tombs here and drawing to and see what we do. This is a 3/5 that when it attacks that has focus, so when it attacks the lane directly in front of it, it does extra damage. I think I'm gonna go ahead and burn my heavy here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just deport this back to their hand for now. So that sends it back, and then I can attack through to their face here. The Invitational is in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. You know, we don't know how large their expansions are going to be. So their base set is actually quite large. Their first set for the game was like 400 some unique cards. How's the day going? Brawl this morning was pretty medium, but Mythgard's been sweet. So my opponent deployed another enchantment here. So this enchantment gives their minion agile, which means it can attack past my blockers. And while it's on my turn, it has armor too. I think I'm actually just gonna go ahead and Seal of Exile this. It's a little aggressive, but I think I want to just try and close the game out because they had the stealth minions. If you considered streaming on Mixer, why would I want to stream on Mixer? Streaming on Mixer is like taking your money and throwing it in the garbage as a content creator. The only people that stream on Mixer are people that have been given piles of money by Microsoft to do so. So I think I'm gonna slide this over, and then I could play Caravan in the middle and hit with both of these again. Maybe that's too aggressive. Yeah, I'm just gonna hit their face and then play Gallows Boy over here. The overlay is awesome. The overlay is built directly into the client, which is sweet. So that's a 5/6, huh? Gets frenzy until your end of the turn whenever another minion dies on your turn. Okay, so that's a 5/6. So I can play ifreet here. Oh, this has armor too. That's not gonna work. Dark Passenger. That'll work for next turn though. So they're down to 9 here. This I don't want to attack with, because if I attack with it, I have to attack here, because if there's something blocking, I have to hit there, which is not great for me. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pass. I guess I could play Peri at the gates, but that makes me lose life from this for drawing cards. I think I want to use my resources for the turn. Let's burn that and do this. I should have sequenced this in the other way. Oh, look, I get the thing back that I burned. Sweet. If my opponent has... There is a blue card that deals 2 damage to all of your opponent's minions. So if they have that card, I could be in a little bit of trouble here. They gave their minion Alpha Strike. That's a tough nut to crack. So now it just gets to kind of crush over my stuff, which is not great for me. Yikes. Okay, so they're at 9. Can we kill them here? So if I Dark Passenger here, this will trade here because it'll be deadly. And then I attack for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I can trade here. This doesn't have armor. So I think I start with that and see where we go from there. Lavish Proxy is an absurd draw, assuming they don't have removal here. So I'm going to hit their face here with these. And then Lavish Proxy is a card that says It's a 4/9 that has regen 2 that says my health can't go below 1 while this is in play. So if they can't kill this, they can't kill me. So if they have removal, we're gonna die here. But if they don't have removal, we should be good to go. So we can kill them on these lanes on the right and left next turn. Although I guess they could deploy minions to block here too, which gives them more time to like find something to kill this. Yep, down to 3. Down to 1. You see? Whoa, they just had nothing. Wow. What is in their hand? I wonder if they just had a bunch of enchantments. I wonder if they just had a bunch of... They must have just had a bunch of enchantments in their hand, huh? They're playing the path that benefits from having a bunch of enchantments in play. The collection building in this game has a mix of arenas and hearthstones, so you can dust unused cards that are extra past your playsets. There is duplicate protection on mythics in this game, but not on commons, uncommons, or rares. And the wild cards when you don't need them, and I have a pretty full collection because I'm a whale, you can dust unused wild cards. So unlike Arena, where I have like 1,000 wild cards I'm never going to be able to use, here I can turn these wild cards I get randomly into dust to eventually turn them into more mythics that I actually need, which is great. One thing I don't think I talked about today, you can see in my collection, this has 4 pips under it, this has 2, this has 3. The rarity of a card in this game dictates how many copies you can have in your deck. So even when there's really powerful mythics in this game, you're only going to have 1 copy of them in each of your decks. Which also makes decks cheaper on average too, because you're not just jamming 4 Okos in every deck, or 4 whatever staple mythic you're looking for in every deck. So I have my grinning kolobok here as a 1-drop.
All right.
So I'm going to burn my 7-drop here because I don't really need this till much later in the game. So we'll burn my green 7-drop and go ahead and play my kolobok down over here. Correct. T-Bird Mythics is not an option. Sweet, Ventron. Hope you enjoy it. There's a channel in the subs Discord as well, so if you have questions or looking to learn things about it, feel free to post in there. Why is Lavish Proxy not full art this time? That's a good question. So you can see here, I have a partner sleeve on my deck, and one of the really smart things that they do is for their partners in this game, when you use the partner sleeve, the client randomly full arts some of your cards to kind of let you show off what some of their full arts look like. So I don't actually have any full arts in this game, but some of my cards at random will be full arted because of the partner sleeve. Consistently with power level. I mean, a lot of the mythics in this game are obvious, like top end bombs, right? From a cards I enjoy playing perspective, I think Panic Raider and Insurance Broker, which I think are actually both uncommons, are 2 of my favorite sleeves, or 2 of my favorite cards. Jeff the Blood. I don't have a 100% collection in this game. I think I'm like 75 or 80% mythic complete, and then I have everything else. So this lane enchantment here says, whenever they create a minion in this lane, it deals 1 damage to everything in the opposing 3 lanes. That's why my thing just died. And they just deployed a stealth minion here. So I think I'm going to burn resupply caravan. Yeah, I tend to dust. I dusted a bunch of my full arts to create more mythics. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy my 2/2 here so we can block the stealth minion. A lot of the minions with stealth have a mechanic called breakthrough, which gives them a bonus when they hit the opponent directly. So generally speaking, you want to be able to block the stealth minions if possible, so they don't hit you and generate extra value. Opponent's just playing purple cards so far. Breach. Did I say breach? I think I might have said the wrong word, but yeah, breach is what that mechanic is called. I mean, the only thing that's locked behind the premium currency is full arts, right?
Easy money.
So this is a 6/5 here. It's normally a 4/4, but it comes into play with 2 more strength and 1 extra health if your opponent was dealt damage this turn, which is pretty good. So I think I'm going to go ahead and play my recruiter here to block their 2/2. Grinning kolobok is kind of medium at this point in the game, so I think I'm going to burn that. And then I'm going to go ahead and deported the 6/5 back to their hand to buy myself some time. I've got an Armageddon Angel here, which is a really powerful top end. This is a mythic. You can tell the rarity of a card based on the dots in the corner. So you can see there's 1 blue dot in the corner of this card, which means you gotta get 1 copy of it. This card has 2 yellow dots. This card has 4 brown dots, so it's a common. Is there an uncommon out here somewhere? This has 3 silver dots, so it's an uncommon. So the interface, again, lots of good reminders in the interface, in my opinion. So the angel here destroys all minions in play when it comes out, and then it gets smaller for every one of their minions it kills, and it gets more attack for every one of our minions that it kills. Yeah, dots indicate rarity and playable copies, exactly. Misfortune is brutal. So this is a card that recurs. It's really good in these aggro decks. It gives a minion fragile 3, which makes it take 3 more damage when it gets attacked. And when that minion dies, I take 2, and they get their misfortune back to their hand. Oh, they just burned the misfortune, so it's back in their deck now. Interesting.
Looking good.
Sword Saint's a really good anti-aggro card. This is a 2/1 that creates them a Biting Blade power-up, which allows them to give one of their minions life tap. I'm gonna go ahead and put Peri at the gates over here in front of their 2/1. Peri draws me 2 cards when it comes into play, so it just draws 1 at random. And then I look at the next 2 and pick 1, which is sweet. I would love an eager recruit here. I'm gonna bin the resupply caravan for now, because I need another orange gem. They have a 3/2 here. This doesn't take retaliatory damage when it attacks, but I also don't really want to take another hit for 3 here, because it seems like they're a more aggressive deck. So I'm gonna go ahead and just deploy eager recruit over here to gain 3, basically. The survey is going to go out this afternoon, Polly. I really did not enjoy Brawl today. The gameplay is just not for me. And that's okay. Not every type of gameplay has to appeal to me personally. Oh, is this Swift? Oh, so this can move for free. Interesting. Oh, and then, okay, so that's a little bit loose. So, the biggest adjustment if you're coming to Mythgard from Arena is easily the fact that you don't restart your client every 90 minutes. In fact, I think Jin said he left the client running for like a week straight at one point and just never had to restart it. 7 days. All right, I'm gonna Armageddon Angel here, which just blows up all their stuff because their hand is mostly these random power-ups at this point. That animation is so good. So clear your crap out. My opponent's path here is one we hadn't talked about. So this says, this is a path that aggressive decks tend to play. This says, at the start of your turn, if you have 3 or more souls, it picks the bottom minion from your discard pile back up to your hand, and you get a soul whenever one of your minions dies. Yeah, mobile's a different beast because, especially on Android, like, mobile memory management is weird.
Right.
So they're cleverly deploying their minions down here, or my 7/7 can't block them. I'm gonna go ahead and smash their face here. I, however, have this traitorous murmur, and this is probably the biggest unit they have, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just yoink this here. Burn my heavy and play my grinning kolobok out. I'm looking to do 2 decks, Marty. Gonna do 2 modern, 2 pioneer tomorrow. All right, so they're at 15 here. So smash you to 7. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna Seal of Exile and banish this. Just because, like, they're gonna be dead. They're gonna be dead next turn. Oh, I could have put... So, when this comes into play, it creates this Pride of the Palace, which lets you turn a minion into a 4/4. So I could have prided this 1/1 and hit them for an extra 3 here. Should you always burn one of your cards each turn? Bumping Memekin. Sounds good, Marty. Depends. It depends on... Whether or not you're supposed to always burn depends on what your deck looks like. So the mid-range and control decks in this game tend to want to burn all the way up to the full 10 resources. Whereas the aggro decks in this game that have lower curves generally want to stop somewhere between 5 and 7. So what the curve of your deck looks like tends to dictate how much you want to burn off. Which again gives a lot of depth and sequencing decisions behind what game actions you're taking. I bumped it by 2 points. Sounds good, Marty. What did I limit the shilling redemptions to, like the 50K? I'm not sure what you mean. Like how many per stream? Yeah, I think I limited it to like five redeemed per stream. I think it was like $50 worth of bumps per category. So I think it was 10 $5 bumps, 5 $10 bumps, 50 $1 bumps. Hey, glad to hear it, King Fede. Grinning Kolobok is just one of our best cards we can play on 1. Just gets our acceleration going ASAP. This guy generates energy, starts with 1 energy, and every time he moves to the first turn, he generates another energy, and then when he eventually dies, we gain a resource for every 2 energy that he has. So slide him over, he goes up to 2 energy. He has Swift, which means he can move twice or move plus attack, so we get a damage in here. Lavish proxy is not something we want particularly early, so we'll burn that off. I'm gonna go ahead and slide an eager recruit out over here. Even though I still have a total resource available still, I cannot play this Paris recruit because the Paris recruit explicitly requires another orange threshold here, orange gem. The auto tapper in this game works like a charm. It does work very well. Yeah, the games that have been going long, we've been thoroughly crushing in the late game. What does moving the creatures benefit you? So, in this game, units only threaten the 3 squares directly in front of them. So this attacks these 3, and this attacks these. What does this do? Defender, life tap, immobile. So for example, this guy, if he attacks right now, would have to attack into this. I don't want to attack into their 1/7, so I'm going to slide to the right, and next turn this can attack into these empty lanes here. If you do all the faction quests, you end up with 6 mythic wildcards, 12 rares, and tons of commons and uncommons, and enough coins for 16 packs all for free. Well, with that, I guess when people start asking me, is this game free-to-play friendly, I can just say yes, right? That's like definitely like, so you could free-to-play a reasonable deck very easily. I think I'm gonna put Peri on top of my deck here, so I have a 4-drop next turn. There are multicolored cards in this game. I did see the Star City Games announcement, and that's awesome. I'm super looking forward to watching the Invitational now.
Do you dream?
This card is super rude. So it says, a minion in the opposite lane is stunned as long as this doesn't move or leave play. So let's slide this down. Let's attack their face here. So one of the balancing mechanics they have in this game is the path you choose gives you a different benefit on the draw. Because unlike Magic, this game is looking to make being on the draw not be a huge detriment. So they've been monitoring their data and adjusting the bonuses that the different colors get for being on the draw, which is just excellent. The codes I have are no longer valid. They did increase the free-to-play rewards a huge amount, though, like Jin was just saying, though. So part of the reason they were giving those codes out was because they didn't have all their free-to-play stuff worked in, and now they have all that extra in there. Yeah, the faction quests make it super free-to-play friendly. Yeah, it's tough, right? Like, you can't blame your losses on resource variance. You can't blame your losses on the client disconnecting and crashing you out. It's just no good, chat. You have to accept personal accountability. So, because our little grinning kolobok here ramped us up, I get to go ahead and drop iku-turso next turn, which is pretty sweet. I was fine with free-to-play mode, but I hate my money and gave them like $100. This game is everything, and I hate waiting. I agree, Niv. I gave them dollars very quickly after playing a little bit. Wait, why did they give that a standard action? That doesn't do anything, right? Maybe they were confused. Oh, they said oops. Have I checked out Gwent? I've not checked out Gwent. Not really in the market for another card game at this point. This plus Magic pretty much occupy all of my time. Super new to Mythgard, got real worried when I saw a card named Blood Moon. Glad all games aren't Magic. Yup. That's the best part about Pioneer. Never having to lose to Blood Moon, Chalice, or Ensnaring Bridge is just a treat. What emotes are available? We have hello, cheer, curse, thanks, oops, threaten, well played. So this is gonna, you can see again, the interface tells me that I'm gonna kill their thing and they're gonna take 3 here, which is great. I can attack here. Kill their 2/1. So something that's a little bit awkward at the moment is while this card's a 4/4 for 3, it says whenever I draw a card, I lose a life as a drawback.
Fortune favors us.
These are all pretty medium. Thankfully, we can burn cards that are pretty medium. I'm going to play this other Serendipity Ifreet out here, which means I'm going to take 2 every time I draw a card now, but this will crush this, then we're going to kill them pretty quickly. And I'm not really worried about overextending because my hand's pretty full at this point. Yeah, I agree, Half-File. You know, the fact that they're a small company, you know, you can really see where your dollars are going to. So this crunches that, which means this gets unlocked. Are they dead? Yeah, I think they're dead, right? Yep. This deck's been very good so far. Yes, yeah, units do not recover damage at end of turn. There is a mechanic called regeneration that makes them recover some amount of life at the end of every turn. It does let you overkill, so you can complete your quests. I like most of the things the game's doing. One of the things that I do wish they would change, because it's just different from other games, so I forget it sometimes, is you have to click here to claim your quests when they're done, your prize from it. And like, I've definitely like completed quests and then like logged out and logged back in the next day and been like, oh, I forgot to do this. Do I plan on doing deck of the day for Mythgard? Uncertain. All right, let's do one more with this one, and then we'll take a quick ad break, and we'll get some more after that. I think we're gonna do 2 more Mythgard decks today. Is there a good way to copy this deck list? So unfortunately, the overlay does not have the deck list available. The card for this deck list will be in the YouTube video description when I post that later tonight. I love the fact that you have to cash in the quest, since I try to maximize the gold gained from them. Oh, you're saying so you can re-roll ones that are low? Sure, I guess that makes sense. Oh yeah, the deck list is in the deck queue. We have a deck queue for this game now. So this deck and the next deck are in the deck queue on my website, and they link to Mythgard Hub. That's new. Still getting used to that. Hey, Bruce Wayne Playboy. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Hope you're having an excellent Wednesday wherever you are in the world. I think I want to lean on Kolobok. Leading on this on 1 is like almost always right. Just like getting some accelerations going, super powerful. Yeah, it's not intuitive and it's not listed anywhere, Marty. It's super weird. Opponent's playing red cards here. Gonna go ahead and burn my extra orange card here. I don't need 2 eager recruits. One of the devs did a good segment on a podcast about the Mythgard economy. Basically, they need to be generous enough that people play the game for free and have fun and stick around to make sure they have a healthy player base at all levels. But if they give too much away too easily, people tend to lose interest. Yeah, people who have full collections tend to stop playing games. People like to play to be working towards something. It's the same deck queue. It's just there's just one deck queue, Darthy Head, and you scroll down. It's just like formats in Magic. The shillings do not turn into any actual monetary reward for me. So my opponent played an artifact here. This artifact, they can spend 1 to give a minion -1/-1. One of the things I really love about this game is how interactive all points are. And even though I don't have cards that destroy artifacts in my deck, when I hit my opponent here, it reduces the artifact's durability. So basically every color can interact with artifacts, which is great. I've not played long enough to finish a ranked season. So I started playing when they went into open beta, and I believe their seasons are more than a month. The bump you gave, bump a deck by 1 point. I do see it, J Ray. Yep. And I have a dashboard that I can go back and check those in. All right. So I think I'm gonna burn the unforgiving here. I'm gonna play this over here so these can trade later. I got the weekend off, been working 80-hour weeks, and now I get to see the wife and kids. Excellent, and thanks for the biddies, Righto. Time off is nice. Maybe I should have cycled the overkill here. It's early, and I kind of want to find some of my other cards that draw additional cards. My opponent's playing an artifact-based deck, and I can know that because they're playing the Fires of Creation path here. So the Fires of Creation path says every time they play an artifact, they generate one of these forgeling units that heal their artifacts up a little bit. Yeah, I think I should have cycled this last turn. This to try and like find a draw two. Current season ends December 8th. Okay. Oh, their artifact kills my thing. That makes sense. Hashtag never punished. So actually get kind of rewarded here because I get to burn this and then raid the tombs. So I needed another green anyways. I'm gonna hit their face here. Yeah, flicker effects do return elk tokens to their original state. When a card in Magic changes zone, it's considered a new instance of that card.
Do we have a mission?
I guess they can use their artifact again here to kill this, and then to keep their thing alive. Don't read this. It just didn't send as much as I bet to. Oops. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So they played a 3-4 out here. I conveniently have Dark Passenger here. This card's very good. It'll give my 1-1 deadly, so my 1-1 will trade with their 3-4 in combat. And notably, Dark Passenger makes my thing. They played around Dark Passenger. How rude. Don't make good plays, opponent. Why you gotta make good plays? They both get exhausted when you play cards to make it so playing multiple colors isn't just super free. Terran Terror. I mean, fragile is just a keyword. You can see it on the mouse over. It makes them take an extra damage. If I trade this here, it gives their things plus durability, so I don't really know that I want to do that. The fact that they killed my 1-1, there was a super heads-up play. I don't really have a great line here. I'm gonna burn this eager recruit and just play lavish proxy out here. Just slide this over. Feel like we're in kind of a medium spot. We need to hit some of our card draw to generate a little velocity. Yeah, my account has a lot of packs open at this point. When I started taking donation decks, I put in even more, so I've got like, I think I'm over 400 packs at this point. Some really high number, especially considering the number of packs I've opened from just like free to play extra stuff. Howdy, Silverfuse. I am doing well. Life's great. So, the static text on this isn't super relevant right now. It says I don't die if I would take damage, or if damage would reduce my life total lower than 1. But this is just a 4/9 with regen 2, so it's just like a large minion that's gonna help me control the board. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this here. Wake the Bones. None of those are very useful. I guess I can Wake the Bones on my Gallows boy to block this from hitting me again, because every time this hits me, they draw a card. gonna go ahead and do that. And then I think I'm gonna burn this detained. It doesn't seem, I guess these are ephemeral. I burn the Seal of Exile for now and slide this down this way. So we can eventually kill this thing. This heals back up 2 at the end of my turn, so it is regen 2. This artifact's been real good for them. Hey, thanks for the sub-gifty, Captain Command. I appreciate it. Yep, he's been stunned. Yes, if you seal one forgeling, they all go away. But they only have one other forgeling right now, so I'm not super worried about it. Card might be useful later, but for the moment doesn't seem particularly great. What does this deck want to do? The deck that we're playing, our deck's basically just like a value mid-range deck. It's just playing like high quality cards and good card advantage. One thing that's gone differently this game versus the other games where we're winning pretty handily is that we've not hit any of our card advantage game. Like, we would love to find like a peri at the gates, so that way we can like get some velocity going, so we can snowball that into like another raid the tombs and like draw a bunch of cards. Yeah, I agree, Jin. The leaks are very likely an intentional marketing push. You look at the mix of cards that were leaked too. I'd be very surprised if it was not an intentional marketing push. This gives my minion Blight 2, so it gets smaller at the start of every one of my turns. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and detain this, and then I'm gonna deported my guy back to my hand because he resets back to his base mode when I do that. So this will just be my 4/9 here now, which is great. I think I'm gonna go ahead and burn the Seal of Exile and play Scion of the Pride out over here. This is an artifact that gives a minion +1/+1 and makes it a soldier. Okay, so this lets them trade off here, which is very good for them. And they can hit me with these other two. With Lavish Proxy back in my hand, we might be okay here. Like I said, we're waiting for our first card that draws a card, and we should be able to snowball from there. You almost always seal Panic Raiders. So this lets them make a 4/2 if they don't already have one. This gives something 1/1. Yep. We got 2 Raid the Tombs in our deck. Got 2 peri at the gates. Really need to draw a minion this turn or something that draws us into a minion so we can block. Getting Angel would be a good draw too, yeah. Peri at the gates is excellent, so I'll get to go ahead and attack this here to finish that off. I can drop peri out in front of here to block a little bit. I can also turn peri into a 4/4 with this Pride of the Palace. Gallows Boy is perfect. Yeah, see, just like that, we're super in the game. Like I was saying, we needed to hit that first piece of card draw to like push us up over the top here. And when this comes into play, it picks a minion back up out of my discard pile, which generates more value. So getting that first bit of snowball going here is a huge deal. Been playing this, I'm like 15-3. I don't think we've lost a game yet. We're regaining all the ranks I lost with the what's it called deck. I've been playing in an enchantment, a 3-color enchantment control deck that has been fun, but it's not very good. Give all minions Blight 3. Yep. So everything gets 3/3 smaller at the start of my turn. It's a demon and not an elk. That's definitely the case, huh? Raid the tomb sounds great. Start by drawing. Does it? I think I'd rather play the stag, huh? Actually, let's start by dark passengering here so these can trade. Perfect. And then let's bin this detained so I can play the stag. And then stag comes into play. It's going to pick proxy back up. People were complaining to SG that they were prepping for standard and don't have a pioneer deck. I can't help but think that if they were testing for standard, that I have a completely viable pioneer deck in blue-green Oko. That's great. Alright, and every time they make a forgeling, it gets bigger and bigger. Wow, this thing doesn't lose durability. I thought that lost durability when it makes these things. That's really good. This is suppressed, so it has no text on it now. Yeah, the Trident is super strong late game, for sure. Alright, let's kill this. Let's play this recruiter out here.
Hey there.
I do not get to draw that because it's not a minion. Let's raid the tombs. Draw 2. Yeah, let's just play another recruiter out, huh?
Hey there.
You pull us one out, I'm gonna craft this deck. I think we're ahead at this point, huh? I would love a Seal of Exile. Yeah, I think we're actually just ahead here. If any non-Oko, non-Teferi decks performed well so far, I want to get to Pioneer Online, but I don't want to spend $300 on a playset. Yeah, you can find... every day, I tag a favorite deck, and there have been a number of Pioneer favorites that don't involve Oko or Teferi. So you can take a peek at my favorite videos there. Oh, they forgot to suppress him so he didn't die. Small mistake there on their part. And then, like, I have a Wake the Bones here, so this is gonna kill this, and then I'll Wake the Bones, pick this back up. Oh, it doesn't have enough energy. Oh, it does take energy, I forgot. That is a suppresses something. Yeah, once we hit our first bit of card advantage, we snowballed super hard. So I just Seal of Exile that, and then just like start crunching their face. And start breaking their artifacts down. I think I'm just going to deport detain this and hit them for 4 in the face. They're down to 8 here. Wargy Corgi. Sorry about that. Thanks for the 2 months. Been a YouTube watcher. I would have had 2 swords by now. Thanks for the entertainment. Well, I appreciate you keeping me around. And Wolfie, thanks for the 11 months. I appreciate it. Yeah, spoilers are welcome here. I'm A-okay with spoilers in my content space. So this thing can only take 2 damage per time it gets attacked, but my Dark Passenger here should crunch right through that, which is great. So they're dead. So we get to go ahead and give this deadly, and then this trades here, and then Stag kills their face. That was a pretty great game. The deck seems super strong. I feel like, as far as like go over the top in the late game is concerned, like this seems like one of the better go over the top decks. I think if you were looking to attack this deck, we were 7-0 in our run there. If you're looking to attack this deck, you probably don't want to do it by going toe-to-toe with it in the late game. You probably want to attack it by getting under it with something like a red aggressive deck, or probably one of the best ways to attack it from. So the next deck we're going to be playing today is actually another control deck. So this is a yellow-orange control deck that top-aided the Mythgard tournament over this weekend. I'm going to run to the bathroom, though, and run a quick ad break before we get into this, but don't go anywhere. We've got, like, I don't know, another 2 hours of Mythgard here. We're going to do a nice long set since Brawl was medium this morning. BRB, folks.